our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra and the numerous affiliates across the country. In Tamale, we're live on KESME 107.1 FM. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. My name is George Kwaning, and top of the stories this very hour. Opposition New Patriotic Party petitioned Chief Justice over what it describes as alleged misconduct by the Second Court judge who is handling the case involving the Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Baffoe, alias Abronye DC. Minority caucus in Parliament vows to resist any further imposition of taxes and levies on Ghanaians as it urges government to adopt strict fiscal discipline and expenditure cut. We'll also take you to the Savannah region where President John Mahama has begun a 2-day resetting Ghana tour where he's expected to inspect ongoing office home Savannah region. We have details of these and more coming up shortly. Stay with us. My name is George Kwaning. Now the news begins, and the Minority Caucus in Parliament says it will oppose any move by government to introduce new taxes or levies, arguing that Ghanaians are already struggling under difficult economic conditions and cannot bear additional financial pressure. The caucus made their declaration during a media briefing by parliamentary leadership on Friday, May 22, where members addressed key economic and governance concerns. Speaking for the minority, Deputy Minority Leader Patriotic Party accused the government of taking inconsistent positions on taxation since the National Democratic Congress (NDC) assumed office in January 2025. And she says, although the minority supports efforts aimed at improving fiscal discipline and reducing wasteful spending, the government's measures so far have failed to bring meaningful relief to ordinary Ghanaians. The minority also served notice it will resist what it describes as the increasing abuse of the certificate of urgency procedure by government in publishing bills through Parliament. And according to Patricia PAJ, the process, which is intended for exceptional and time-sensitive matters, is now being overused to fast-track legislation without adequate scrutiny and consultation. Take a listen.
The government's approach to taxation is incoherent. Having MPP condemns certain MPP-era taxes while in opposition, the NDC has proceeded to introduce its own levies on Ghanaians already overburdened. Then we'll move on to the key national issues. We'll look at the cost of living and inflation. While inflation has dropped to single digits, which is a welcome development, ordinarily, Ghanaian families are yet to feel tangible relief in their daily lives. The minority will continue to press for policies that will translate macroeconomic gains into real improvements in household incomes, market prices, and standard of living.
And the majority, however, says it does not intend to abuse the certificate of agency procedure. The majority leader, Mahama, responding to minorities' concerns, also said government does not intend to heap more taxes on Ghanaians. We play that very audio to you in a subsequent bullet. But we are supposed to engage our correspondent Crosby, who is in Parliament currently, to give us more updates on this. And he was at the briefing as well as the speakers' meeting. So we want to get through to him. We'll surely connect and update you accordingly. This afternoon, the opposition New Patriotic Party (NPP) is set to petition Chief Justice Paul Baffoe over what it describes as alleged misconduct by Second Court Judge Joseph Yenuban Kusong in the handling of cases involving NPP party members. The judge has sat on cases against the Bono Regional Chairman of the NPP, Kwame Baffoe, and Abubakar Yakubu, popularly known as Baba Mando, has come under intense criticism by the NPP over claims of bias. And the criticism reached its crescendo after the judge denied Abronye bill in a matter involving his public commentary on matters. The development, according to the party, raises serious concerns of judicial independence and need for the Chief Justice to take action. Let's take you to the Supreme Court right now. Ejunam Haligan is there for more updates. I'm told she will join us shortly. But if you just tune in, you're listening to the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7 with me, George Kwaning. Let's move to other news. The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament is asking government to publish reports of arrears, outstanding claims and financial commitment to strengthen fiscal discipline and improve expenditure control. It comes after the Auditor General disallowed questionable payment claims worth 8.5 billion cedis submitted by ministries and state agencies in 2024 due to fake invoices, duplicate entries and missing documentation. Christian Yali reports that the committee has ended its zonal hearings with a final report soon expected.
Honorable, I'm also a member of Parliament. Don't do this. Please, please, I am on the floor, Honorable. Let me make my point. No, you won't heckle me. Don't play sentiment.
But when you come here and we address issues, it is not that we want to take anybody down. Never. You and I will go beyond this.
The final zonal hearing of the Public Accounts Committee started on a rather dramatic note when the Communications Minister clashed with the chairperson over concerns about network connectivity challenges, one that would remain a major highlight. The Sports Ministry was faulted for payment irregularities concerning the 2023 African Games, as well as the Foreign Affairs Ministry's underutilization of Ghana's mission building in New York.
Coordinating directors, finance officers, and the revenue superintendent, you guys are going to pay that amount of money.
Several infractions spanning from cash, procurement, asset and stores, sanitation and other irregularities were flagged, raising serious concerns about management of public funds. Some officials were surcharged to refund huge sums of money unaccounted for, with few referrals to the Attorney General over procurement breaches. Chairperson Abronye says government must institutionalize annual publication of these financial reports.
The committee wishes to strongly emphasize that government must institutionalize the annual publication of all arrears, outstanding claims and commitments. Transparency in this area is critical. Regular disclosure will improve fiscal credibility, strengthen expenditure control, and reduce the need for recurring special audits of this nature.
Delivering her closing remarks to end the hearing, she charged the Finance Ministry to find cost-effective means to train public officials on the amended Public Financial Management Act.
The committee remains deeply concerned about recurring infractions within the public service, including unsupported expenditures, procurement breaches, weak internal controls, delayed retirement of interest, payroll irregularities, and in some instances, the deliberate padding of invoices and inflation of claims. The Ministry of Finance is encouraged to find cost-effective means for training all public spending officers as well as middle-level officials in the requirements of the revamped Public Financial Management Act.
The Public Accounts Committee has performed one of the most sacred responsibilities of Parliament in ensuring responsible use of public funds. Deliberations may have ended, but there will be more in the final report the committee produces and how much it is able to retrieve together with auditors through their work. Christian Yali.
And that was a report by my colleague Christian Yali there. And this afternoon, let's go back to our earlier story. And this afternoon, the opposition New Patriotic Party is set to petition Chief Justice Paul Baffoe over what it describes as alleged misconduct by Circuit Court Judge Joseph Yanumban Kusong in the handling of cases involving MPP party members. The judge has set on cases the Bono Regional Chairman of the MPP, Kwame Baffoe, and Abubakar Yakubu, and probably known as Baba Mando, and has come under intense criticism by the MPP over claims of bias. The criticism reached its crescendo after the judge denied Abronye bill in a matter involving his public commentary on matters. The development, according to the party, raises serious concerns of judicial independence, a need for the Chief Justice to take action. Let's take you to the Supreme Court right now, where my colleague Enyinam Haligan is there for more updates. Enyinam, what can you report? Has the petition been presented already?
We're currently at the Supreme Court, where officials of the opposition New Patriotic Party are expected to formally present a petition to the Chief Justice over what they describe as an alleged misconduct by the Circuit Court Judge Savannah Joseph Kusong. Now, the petition has not yet been presented, but the officials of the opposition New Patriotic Party are expected to do so shortly, as we're still here at the premises of the Supreme Court. Now, this petition is seeking what the party describes as a review and investigation into the conduct by His Honor Joseph Kusong over the handling of the cases involving, like you mentioned, the party's Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Baffoe, and then Abubakar Yakubu, who is popularly known as Baba Amandu. Now, these officials insist that the move is not an attack on the judiciary, but rather an attempt to ensure that the right thing is done and also preserve the confidence in the judicial system.
What are the key concerns in the petition? Can you tell us?
Right. So the party officials, the ones I have been engaging, indicated that the central concern for the petition is the allegation that the judge has shown some bias in the handling of the cases I mentioned, that's with Abronye DC and then Baba Amandu. Now, they argue that certain actions and decisions taken during the proceedings have raised concerns about impartiality and unfairness. According to the party, this has the potential of undermining the public confidence in the judicial system and administration of justice in the country. For what reason they are petitioning the Chief Justice this afternoon.
Lastly, before you go, who were the persons present to hand over this petition?
Right. So far, we have cited some senior members of the party. So we've seen the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kudia. We've also seen the former Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senya, who also doubled as the former Fisheries Minister, Mavis Hawa-Kumsin. We've also seen the third National Chairman, Vice Chairman for the NPP, Alhaji Masaudu. And then we've also seen the former Deputy Managing Director for the SL Administration, Alfred Thompson. That's the National Investment Bank. Now, they've indicated that this is not an attack on the judiciary, but they just want the right thing to be done, and they're calling the Chief Justice to ensure that the right thing is done.
Thanks so much for your time. Haliga is a reporter at the Supreme Court, and following up on a petition by the NPP, said to petition the Chief Justice Paul Mafuboni about what they describe as alleged misconduct by Second Court Judge Joseph Yenuban Kuzong in the handling of cases involving 8 party members. And now let's do some rural stories. And residents of Sefiri also are pushing back against what they describe as attempt to alter the proposed site for the Western North Regional Hospital. The development has triggered growing concern among residents who argue that the regional hospital rightfully belongs in Sefiri, also the administrative capital of the Western North region. Concerned residents are demanding urgent intervention from President John Mahama, insisting the facility must be established in Sefiri, also the regional capital. We connect now with our correspondent for more on this. And Matthew, tell us, what more have they been telling you about the alleged relocation of the regional hospital? Matthew, if you can hear me, tell us, what more have they been telling you about the alleged relocation of the... It seems we've lost connection with our reporter. When we get through to him, who will surely update you. And so that takes us to our next story. And residents in around Diamond Cement, a suburb of Aflau in the Ketu South municipality, are still living in fear a year after the murder of a mobile money vendor, Christopher Ahodo, in a robbery incident. Although police acted swiftly to arrest some suspects, residents fear the case may remain unresolved following the responded release of all the suspects. Faiza Abdul Idrisu has more.
Christopher Ahodo, aged 27, was fatally shot during a suspected robbery incident at his shop near the Diamond Cement Factory in Aflau in the evening of April 28, 2025. The incident reportedly occurred around 6:15 p.m. with the robbers making away with an unspecified amount of money. Police, in an initial swoop, arrested 8 suspects in a swift response to the incident. But 1 year on, residents say nothing has been done about the case, heightening fear and tension in the area. That incident had never happened around here before. That day, I was home when I was called that Christopher was killed. He would usually close at 5, and so that very day, about 6 p.m., I was going home and he was still here. So I informed him and left. About an hour later, I was called that this is what had happened. We have since been living in fear.
We lost a brother. We lost a father. We lost a businessman. We lost everything. All that we need is justice. Until justice is prevailed, we will not be okay.
At a recent press briefing, families of the victim accused the police of deliberate feet dragging and moves that undermine the delivery of justice.
We were informed that several suspects, including the prime suspect, Mr. Taidu Ali, had been transferred by the police to hold to assist with investigations. At that point, we had hope. We believe justice would take its rightful course. That hope that has gradually been eroded by what appears to be delays, frustrations, negligence, and alleged act of corruption surrounding the handling of the case. Most disturbing is the reported escape of the main suspect, Ali Taidu, from police custody at Adaklu, while other suspects connected with the crime were reportedly granted bail under questionable circumstances.
The family is appealing to the Inspector General of Police to take special interest in the case and threatened to picket at the Divisional Police Command until justice is delivered.
And this is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7 with me, George Kwaning. Let's reconnect with our correspondent, Crosby Annan, and he monitored the minority caucus meeting, that of the majority, and the speaker's meeting as well. Crosby, thanks for your time. Can you tell us what really transpired in these meetings, the highlights?
Oh, just like you already know, when sitting is resuming after recess, the leadership of the House, they will engage the media ordinarily to talk to them about what to expect for the sitting that will happen. So today, the meeting between or amongst the leadership of Parliament, the minority leadership was there, the majority leadership was there, both engaging the media. They had the chance to ask questions and respond to questions as well. But key among the issues that came up today was the work of the Constitutional Amendment Committee. Now, already we know that from yesterday's welcome address by the majority that the majority and Parliament is expected to deliberate on key proposals from the Constitutional Amendment Committee. The minority says that they will be very careful, they will be very vigilant in approving or passing any bills or any laws or any amendments from suggestions or proposals from the Constitutional Amendment Committee. So that came up. There's also the bit about taxes. We know that later in the year, the media budget review will be presented by the finance minister. The minority say that they will kick against any tax that the majority would want to introduce in the budget review. So that discussion is also ongoing. It came up during the leadership meeting held a few hours or minutes ago. Away from that, the bit about the LGBTQ bill was also a topic of discussion. The majority sought to explain why it has not come to Parliament yet, but the understanding is that the committee has done the public engagement, and in the coming days, for this session of Parliament, we should expect that it will be laid before the House. The Speaker already has given a strong indication that this is a bill that he's interested in, and he will look at passing it. So it's something that we're looking at and considering highly for this session. Overall, there's also the bit about why the concerns about free speech that was raised by the minority, particularly the case about Abronye DC. The minority, they're still on the conversation of how the NDC government is intimidating free speech, the criminal libel law. They are warning that the NDC is reintroducing the repealed criminal libel law. So it's something they are not very happy about, and they are saying that they are stifling free speech, and they are demanding the release of all other arrested persons. So these are some of the key things that were spoken about, that came up during the leadership meeting or Parliament today. There were also other key concerns raised by both the majority and the minority in Parliament based on various needs. So all of that happened today, and in the coming days, it will be interesting what the sitting will be in terms of deliberations, expectations, and then clashes between the minority and the majority. George.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for your time for that very update. It will surely update listeners accordingly. And now, former National Chairman of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Paul Baffoe, has officially announced his intention to contest again for the party's top executive position, promising to reunite and rebuild the NPP following its disappointing performance in the 2024 general elections. Addressing regional executives, members of the Council of Elders, and Council of Patrons in the Greater Accra region, Paul Baffoe said the NPP had lost significant political ground and required experienced leadership to restore the party's fortunes ahead of the elections. There's more in this very report.
Paul Baffoe says the current state of the new Patriotic Party should concern every loyal member following the party's poor showing in the 2024 general elections. He officially announced his intention to contest again for the position of national chairman when nominations are opened.
At the moment, I am going around the country, not campaigning as such, but reconnecting with the party leadership at regional level. The state of the party today is not the best. We have lost a lot of ground. All through the years that I have been silent, that was a deliberate decision I had made. Of course, there was pain at the time. I could just stay off and go join the Council of Elders and just stay there. But I thought, no, we need to actually deliberately implement some of the things that I had started and hadn't finished, and some that I had done and finished, and we could replicate that again.
Paul Baffoe said the NPP had suffered serious setbacks both in the parliamentary and presidential elections, stressing that the decline from 169 parliamentary seats in 2016 to 87 seats currently was painful. He, however, maintained that the blame for the party's defeat should not be placed on one individual alone.
We all have to share that blame, because on the presidential front, yes, the votes went down, but that was because Ghanaians were no longer listening to us. Even internally, our people, we lost a lot of our people. We are NPP, and if we don't unite, we won't see power. Because from the divisions that happened, we started to whittle our votes till we got to where we are today.
The former chairman outlined what he described as a 3 R's agenda: reunite, rebuild, and recapture, as his strategy to reposition the party for victory in future elections. He further appealed to party executives to support his bid, insisting he has the experience and capacity to help the NPP return to power.
I have come to ask that you support me. I would just plead that, looking at my record, that I believe in results. I believe I have the capacity to support our party in opposition, just as I did last time, to raise funds, to push our agenda. And this time I hope I'll see, not only see the promised land, I will enter it with you.
Paul Baffoe previously served as national chairman of the NPP before his suspension in 2015 amid internal party disagreements.
To save Ghana. And let's still stay a while on this very development and engage Dr. Samuel Efriye, who is a political analyst. Doc, thanks for your time. And Paul Baffoe argues that the NPP's decline from 169 parliamentary seats in 2016 to 87 seats currently shows the party needs experienced leadership. Given the political realities within the party today, how viable is its bid to reclaim the chairmanship position after more than a decade away from frontline party leadership?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners as well. And George, when we talk about these elections, the chairmanship, I think Honorable Baffoe, being the former chairman and also staying away in active politics for a while and coming back also give some kind of credence or value to what is coming to contest for the chairmanship. When you look at the other contestants, seriously, you can judge him to be a little bit different because people thought that since he was in the camp of Alan Chamatin, he could have been with the movement of change. He could have been also with UP for now. So if that being the case, and still be with the party and looking at his utterances or whatever, he has not made any derogatory remarks or anything against the party. So his conduct outside the party, when he was not in active politics, can also give him some kind of credence to his chairmanship. And the way he has modeled himself so far, even joining the party, his comment, his statement, all these things, I think, gave him a positive signal for. And the party members also look at loyalty. They also look at how you are able to manage yourself, your personality as well. And I think that all indicators or maybe certain things that people could have judged him wrongly, I think is going to his favor this time as he's gearing up for the chairmanship.
And Doug, since Akufo's suspension, new power centers have emerged within the party. Does it still command enough grassroots and delegate support across the regions to mount a serious challenge at the upcoming delegates conference?
Yes, I think Afoko need a lot of, I need to work very hard because people have to trust him. People also need to, you need to have confidence. People need to have confidence in him. So I think that you need to work hard to let the delegates know what he stands for, what he's coming in for, what is going to handle the problems of the party, losing a lot of votes in 2024 elections. So Afoko needs to work hard, seriously, to create trust, confidence, and also how to handle the party challenges.
Doug, before you go, one of the key issues likely to dominate his campaign is the question of loyalty and trust. How difficult would it be for Afoko to convince delegates that he can unite and lead the party effectively, despite the circumstances that led to his suspension and prolonged absence from the party hierarchy?
I think Afoko, looking at when those suspension came, because you know that, as I said earlier, he was very close to Alan Chamatin. So since he was not able to go with the other side, I think he can use that as one of the key points or key areas that would justify his loyalty to the party. At the same time, within the party, you cannot easily identify where his camp or whatever, that because when it came to the presidential elections, you do not. That is why I said that his conduct within the party after joining the party, and also when he was off from the party, how he was able to conduct himself will be one of the things that he has to use when communicating to the delegates, so that he can get more votes from these people. They can trust him and build confidence for what he is ahead to come and solve for the party.
Doug, thanks so much for your time. It's always a pleasure engaging your expertise on issues regarding politics. Dr. Samuel Efrie is a political analyst, and that's how we end the Midday News. Before we go look again at our top stories, opposition New Patriotic Party petitions Chief Justice for what it describes as alleged misconduct by the Circuit Court judge who is handling the case involving the Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Baffoe, alias Abronye DC. Minority caucus in Parliament vows to resist any further imposition of taxes and levies on Ghanaians as it urges government to adopt strict fiscal discipline and expenditure cuts. And we also took you to Savannah region, where President John Mahama has begun a 2-day resetting Ghana tour agenda. My name is George Kwaning. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Bismarck is standing by for business. Good morning.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com. Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, government eyes third straight treasury bill oversubscription with 4.486 billion cedis auction following 7-week cash squeeze. And Ghana's fixed income market turnover rises to 1.51 billion cedis as treasury bills, DDEP bonds, lead liquidity. I am Bismarck, so I will bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Government returned to the domestic money market today to borrow 4.486 billion cedis through its weekly treasury bills auction. The issuance spanned the standard short-term spectrum, offering the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day tenors to institutional and retail investors. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. This week's auction carries significant weight for the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana. The state is actively seeking its third consecutive oversubscription, an outcome that would signal a clear stabilization in domestic investor confidence. Government is looking to borrow 4.486 billion cedis. A successful outing on Friday would firmly cement a recovery for the Treasury, which recently emerged from a punishing 7-week streak of undersubscriptions. During that dry spell, market appetite repeatedly fell short of government short-term financing targets, forcing fiscal managers to navigate a tight liquidity squeeze and confront mounting pressures on state expenditure. 3 Business attributes the previous dry run to a combination of tight market liquidity and investors temporarily shifting their portfolios toward higher-yielding capital market alternatives. However, the tide has turned over the last fortnight. The recent rebound in subscription rates suggests that primary dealers are warming back up to short-term government paper, lured by stabilized yields and regular rollover demands. The cash raised from this auction will be heavily utilized to refinance maturing short-term obligations and buffer the state's immediate operational expenditures. Market observers will be closely watching the final yields to see if government can maintain its borrowing momentum without being forced to push interest rates higher. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on government eyeing third straight treasury bill oversubscription with 4.486 billion cedis auction following 7-week cash squeeze. Meanwhile, trading activity on the Ghana fixed income market, GIFIM, saw a significant boost on Thursday, May 21, 2026, closing with a total turnover of 1.51 billion cedis. The session, which spanned 490 trades, was heavily driven by short-term government papers and structured secondary market transactions. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. Sell buyback transactions in government notes and bonds anchored the day's liquidity, leading the market with a volume of 798.37 million cedis across 74 trades. Treasury bills also maintained strong momentum, contributing 513.02 million cedis from 395 trades, signaling sustained investor appetite for short-term government debt. Meanwhile, secondary market activity in domestic debt exchange program DDEP bonds recorded 196.23 million cedis from 10 trades, while corporate bonds saw a quieter session, bringing in 6.99 million cedis across 11 trades. Notably, there were 0 outright trades recorded for both old and new Government of Ghana notes and bonds during the session. In the sell buyback segment, a few major transactions dominated the floor. The largest chunk of liquidity came from the GOG Bond Point 10 paper, which posted, "The program will embed entrepreneurship." And that was the 3 Business News Desk report on fixed income market turnover rising to 1.51 billion cedis as treasury bills, DDEP bonds lead liquidity. Now, the Bank of Ghana says it is advancing plans to deploy the ECD for cross-border settlements and wholesale payments following the successful completion of the digital currencies pilot phase. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Pandit Esiama, says the next phase of the project is expected to support faster international transactions, deepen digital finance, and strengthen regional trade integration. There is more in the following report. The ECD project has now completed its design, implementation, and pilot testing stages, with the central bank shifting focus toward how the digital sovereign currency can now be integrated into Ghana's evolving financial market ecosystem. Speaking at the opening of the 64th ACI World Congress in Accra, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, said financial markets across emerging economies are becoming increasingly digital, interconnected, and innovation-driven.
The ECD, Ghana's central bank digital currency, has completed its pilot phase, and we are now actively designing its use for cross-border settlements and wholesale payments. The strategic question is therefore no longer whether to build digital sovereign infrastructure. The strategic question now, here and elsewhere, is what economic activity we choose to enable once we have it.
And that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama. Before we go, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEIP, says it expects a new campus-based initiative to fundamentally shift how entrepreneurship is nurtured in the country by identifying potential founders early and building them into investment-ready businesses before they leave the university. The ambition underpins the Student Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Development Program known as SEED. The program will embed entrepreneurship training, mentorship, business advisory services, investment readiness training, and access to funding within Ghana's tertiary institutions. Beyond individual support, the initiative will strengthen existing innovation hubs on campuses and connect them directly to student-led businesses, creating structured pipeline from idea generation to scalable enterprise development within the university system. NEIP says the intervention responds to one of the most persistent weaknesses in Ghana's entrepreneurial ecosystem, where many promising young businesses struggle to transition from early-stage ventures into sustainable investment-ready operations. Speaking at the launch of the Nkabom Venture Quest Entrepreneurial Bootcamp, Deputy Chief Executive of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, Joan Selassie Ahiawodo, said the program will prioritize women-led enterprises and persons with disabilities.
What we want to do is to inculcate the spirit of entrepreneurship in young people right from the universities, because there are a lot of tertiary students who are doing businesses on campus. But sometimes when we start, we don't know how to go about it. Very profitable businesses, but because we don't have the entrepreneurship mindset, by the time we are out of school, we lose all that, and then we go chasing for government jobs and all that.
Secretariat Director of the Nkabom Collaborative, Pierre Brunach Jr., also underscored the need for policies that support young entrepreneurs and help their businesses thrive.
For government itself, it's one word, policy, right? So we need the proper policy to ensure that when this youth, for instance, if somebody here decides to get into tomato or rice, so there are proper policy in place to protect that youth, that young entrepreneur.
And it's a wrap on Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Urban Blend is next with Black Rasta. Please stay.